do have 8 children, but we'll see about the sense of humor thing.
8?
Well, I have 30 minutes to tell you about science. That is my Facebook persona. And I heard Jeff talking about Facebook. It's kind of a fun thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the thing that has been sort of interesting for me with Facebook is I've been out of my home country for more than 20 years now. And so I have reconnected over the last few years with old friends that I haven't seen for 10 or 20 years, even longer. Some from elementary school and high school. And have you noticed that some people have aged really well? It's really fun to see them. Oh yeah, just like I remember that person. And then some people have aged not so well. Have you noticed that? That's why I sort of have a persona there. I can't really see what I look like. But New Skin, you know, is about aging. Now, I've been asked to give science of Pharmanex and New Skin in 30 minutes. What do you do when you have to do that? Do I give you a sort of a product presentation and go into the science and the theory? I think that's not the most effective way. I love Alan's approach. This is like a university. And so you are learning the business, right? So you want to learn how to approach people somewhat. And you're not really going to be able to repeat chemistry or biochemistry or quantum physics or spectrophotometry, as in the biophotonic scanner, all that well. But I think people will catch your passion, right? They catch your heart, your passion. If you're really passionate about it, you believe it, it really is catching. So, we're going to talk about aging today. We're going to talk about what is age lock, but we're not going to go into a minute detail so that you have to write copious notes or record every word I say. We'll set some goals in a minute. But first of all, what's age lock? What is age lock?
Slow down the aging at the source.
Perfect. Slowing down aging at the source. This is really what we're doing. A lot of companies are looking at the aging process and they're saying, okay, we can cover that up. We can do that really great. We've got this product called Red Bull that's going to give you wings. That's going to solve your energy crisis, right? But they don't tell you about the crash landing, right? It's really not energy at the source. It's just covering up the symptoms. Same thing with certain personal care products. They can make you look good for a little while, but it's not aging at the source. So age lock is about attacking the sources of aging, not the signs and the symptoms. So I mentioned we've got some goals. The goal is not to help you to become a PhD. This is not a continuing medical education course in genetics, anything like that, right? We don't need you to be scientists, and you don't have to be scientists to be successful in this business, right, Alan?
I hope not.
So the goal is, after I spend the next 30 minutes with you, I want you to have a confidence that the science is real. That's the number one goal, really. You need to be able to walk away from here. I know that you guys are experienced in the business. I've seen a lot of rubies here and diamonds and blue diamonds. You know about the products. I think you wouldn't be here if you had some sense that there was something real here. But in 30 minutes, I hope you really become convinced and passionate that this is exciting and it's real and you want to share it with your friends. And the other thing is, how do you share it with your friends? So I want to sort of come back a couple of times about some key phrases, things that you can say that will help to capture that science in a nutshell in an easily digestible form. And if people have more questions, they can call product support. They can call us and talk to us. You know, I spent half an hour this morning with a bunch of doctors that had really in-depth questions, but you don't need to be the person to answer those questions, right? All right, so let's get started. Aging. It's all about aging. And, you know, if you really do want to look at aging at the source, where do you start? What are a lot of people doing? In fact, there were about, in the 1970s and early 80s, there were about 5 labs in the USA that studied aging. Now, there are more like 500, about 1,000 worldwide. Why the change, do you think? Baby boomers. It's the same reason why your business is successful. We don't want to age gracefully, and where all the money is the baby boomers. They're the guys that are subsidizing the science. That's where it's all at, right? So there's a huge interest in aging. But here's the deal. Most people that are studying aging, they're called gerontologists. I like to call them aging scientists. They are just studying what happens when you age. It's all about descriptive biology. You know, as you age, you tend to forget things. Why? Well, let's go into the neurobiology of aging and find out, you know, whether you're getting some sort of tangled nerves or something going on, it's describing the process. Not actually trying to fix it, just describing it. Everything else too, from sociological changes, physical changes, breakdown of collagen, and why your skin starts to sag, all of those things, but not really trying to change it. In fact, the paradigm really is it can't be changed. You're going to age, it's inevitable. There's so many years in this life. Just be grateful if you get through it and you're still more or less healthy at the end of it, right? But we have much bigger goals than that at New Skin, right? My goal is to die young, as late in life as possible. That's our goal. So when we talk anti-aging, it's not necessarily living to 120. It's living a good long life, but being healthy all the way to the end. Scientists call that compression of morbidity. So a great reduction in that period of time that you're sick just before you die. Let's make sure we're healthy till you die, right? That's the goal. So what about going to the sources of aging? It seems that now, using our paradigm of actually trying to change that process and slow it down, that if you go as far upstream to the sources of aging as possible, gene expression does regulate that process. Now, I don't want to completely ignore everything that we've done so far at Pharmanex and New Skin. We've looked at ingredients that help the skin to stay young, and on the Pharmanex side, we've looked at nutrition and how vital that is for extending life and compressing morbidity, right? So those nutritional elements and those antioxidants are still an extremely important foundation for the sources of aging. But we're always moving. We're always moving ahead and trying to find out what's the next big thing and what's the next meaningful thing. We've always had a sense that genes play a role, of course. So let me just, for the next little while, tell you about what we're doing in this area. And let me share with you that some of the things that we've learned along the way are exclusive access to some of this information on the ultimate sources of aging has really shifted the paradigm and offered a whole new way of looking at the aging process. So let's talk about genes for a little bit. Where does it all start? It started really this century. We cracked the code. We have been able to sequence the entire human genome. What does that even mean? Does anyone know? Sequencing the genome? Well, actually, no, not yet. That's like way downstream. First of all, it is to understand what is the language. We know what the language is, we know what the words are, and we know what the sentences are, right? The words in the genome are G, A, T, and C. Those are the, well, actually, those are the letters. The words are when you put three of those together, like G, A, and T, that's a word. So it actually took about 20 years, and about $20 billion in about 10 different countries. And the government started doing it, and then some very flamboyant scientists in the private industry said, we can beat you at it, we've got a much better method, and so it ended up being a combined effort. And around the year 2000, I think it was 2003 or something, President Clinton stood up on one side of the world with Donna Shalala, the Secretary for Health and Human Services, and on the other end of the planet was the Prime Minister of England, and they both stood up and said, we have cracked the code, this is one of the most momentous events. And now that we've cracked the code, Clinton promised that within 10 years, there would be all sorts of cures to all sorts of diseases, perhaps even cancer, because we knew the code, we knew the language of the human genome.